Welcome to the Motorsport Coaching Podcast, sponsored by Motivate Training and Management. This is a podcast where we talk to drivers and industry experts to help you maximize your performances on and off the track. Let's get started with today's show. Hi guys, and welcome to episode 38 of the Motorsport Coaching Podcast. I am your host, Belinda Risley, and today I am joined by a very lovable character in the field, Mr. Jayden Ojeda. Hopefully I said that right. Sorry, Jayden. As everyone knows, names aren't really my forte, or speaking really. Anyway, today you're going to hear a fantastic story around Jayden's growth from karting to his first Super 3 event coming up in the next couple of weeks at Phillip Island. Jayden is not only a professional race car driver on the way up, he's also studying a double degree at university, which is fantastic. So please help me welcome Jayden to the show. Cool, and welcome to the show, Jayden.
Thanks for having me.
I always say I'm excited, but I always am excited to have my guest into the show because you are Mr. Nice Guy throughout the pits and everybody loves you, and you do have a very exciting story to tell. So tell us a little bit about how you got started into motorsport. I believe you got a go-kart when you were about 7 years of age for a birthday gift. What a gift to get. Talk us through about your karting career.
Yeah, so like you said, obviously got my first go-kart when I was 7 on my 7th birthday and got to zip up and down the street a little bit. Then just as you do, you kind of start off just for fun, going to local club days, stuff like that. And then won my first state title in 2010, I believe. Then kind of realised it was a bit more serious then and worked my way up and obviously achieved some pretty cool things in karting, winning quite a few state championships, Rotax Pro Tours, and obviously the national championship just at the end. Getting to represent Australia as well was pretty cool. But yeah, it's kind of obviously, like I said, started out for fun and worked my way up through. Obviously being recognised as a CAMS elite driver for a couple of years as well, which was pretty cool. And
how did you get started into it? Was your dad in it, like your parents, someone else? Why did you get a go-kart at 7? Did you love create watching Formula 1?
Yeah, I was always kind of a little bit of a motorsport head. I love watching it. Dad had a go-kart as well. He didn't really do it seriously. Kind of just went out on the odd months to do a couple of laps. So I always went out and watched him, so you kind of just get interested and infused in it. So I always kind of liked anything and killed anything with wheels. So that was kind of the obvious choice to send me down that pathway.
Yeah, so you did mention that you were the CAMS Elite Driver Program for 2014, 15 and 16. What kind of things did you do in those programs?
So CAMS obviously set up the initiative to help young drivers progress in not only in the aspect of driving, but everything that kind of happens outside of driving. So a lot of it had to do with your physical development, media preparations, and just all the stuff that obviously not everyone sees on the TV, which obviously some drivers miss out on the whole way up until they get up into that point of the career where they need it, and they might not have it. So it was just kind of a really good initiative by CAMS to go about it that way, and it was really enjoyable as well, getting to go with a bunch of probably 15, 20 odd kids your age, to spend a couple of days away all together when it's not at a racetrack as well was pretty cool.
Fantastic. So after karting, you moved on to Formula Fords. So tell us about who did you race with then? How did you go in that series?
So raced before Ball and Development, obviously the manufacturers of the Spectrum chassis. That was done through a link through my engine builder and go-karting at the time. He actually Adam Macro won the championship for Mike in the Spectrum car. But yeah, then obviously did my Victorian State Championship, and we showed some good pace throughout that year. And it was a learning year by all means. A few DNFs, a few offs, a few mistakes by myself, but I mean, it's only expected when you're a young rookie. But overall, it was ultimately a really, really cool experience.
And what age were you racing that Formula Fords for the state round?
I would have started Formula Ford when I would have been turning 16, so I would have been 15 when I first kind of hopped into the car. Obviously, it was a pretty daunting experience when you're hopping into a race car before you've even got your learner's license. But ultimately, just got to snatch at opportunities like that to get behind a car that quick.
Yeah, and so from there, you've moved on from the state series into the national series. Was it with the same team?
Yeah, so from there we continued on with Ball and Development. Went to the national series, and we had 2 successful years. A few events that probably didn't work out our way, which ultimately kind of put us behind the 8 ball in some aspects. But it was still a really, really enjoyable couple of years, and Mike helped me out a lot at the track and away from the track, and kind of taught me all the foundations and all the basics. So ultimately, he's helped me out a lot, and really thankful for that.
So you just mentioned, Jayden, about the foundations and basics, putting on the spot here. What are they? Are you saying like around about how to engage with sponsors, about doing social media, being thankful, being the nice guy in the group, loving everybody?
Yeah, so Mike was ultimately a very good teacher. Obviously, going from go-karting to cars, there's a big swing in way of driving the car and way of racing and stuff like that. So ultimately, I was young, you kind of got no idea what you're doing. So you need someone like Mike or someone to kind of put you under their wing and show you the ropes of how this works. This is what happens if you do that. Obviously, you kind of need that guidance when you're that young. But yeah, Mike done that really, really well.
In 2018, you progressed up to Formula 4s. How was that?
Yeah, so obviously at the end of 2017, we felt like we needed a little bit of a switch, but ultimately a big part of my whole racing career has been budget. So couldn't make too big of a step just from what we kind of had restricting us. So managed to get in contact with Adam, and he managed to get me into the seat for the 2018 season. Ultimately, it was obviously an amazing year, getting to win the championship and break a few records along the way. But those boys really accepted me into their family for that 1 year, and it was really, really good year.
So we'll just go back a little bit talking about sponsorship. We know that sponsorship is one of the major barriers in successful race car drivers. How did you overcome that challenge of barriers? Was it about successful networks that you established? Was it from your family? Was it from what Borland or AGR were able to bring to the table? How did your sponsorship throughout your journey go about?
Luckily, my mum has been a typical mum and really pushed what I wanted to do. Unfortunately, we don't come from much of a motorsporting background, so a lot of the contacts we were making were new to us. They weren't passed on from generations or so on. So a lot of the opportunities were us barging down doors, trying to open as many doors as we can, obviously, as you always try to. But ultimately, she sorted out a few sponsors, obviously, for me in my early stages of the career, and obviously really thankful for that. And then it's just a whole networking procedure. If you know that guy, you might know that guy, and just opening doors along the whole way, which is kind of what we've gone about my whole career, is never closing a door completely, because then obviously opportunities can arise where it can help you back out. And
have you done the Bunnings sausage sizzle yet?
We've done a few sausage sizzles actually, out in the local area of Penrith. So yeah, we've gone about a few different initiatives. Obviously, we've got the JO Club that's happening as well, which we continue for the 2019 season. That ran really well. Obviously, it's good to kind of get that fan base. You see it a lot in the supercars where the teams or the drivers might have their own. So it's good to kind of start that off early and kind of build the foundations and gain those long-lasting members that obviously can't help out in a sponsorship term, but they still want to help out in whichever way they can. So it was a really good initiative.
And do you want to talk us through about Club JO? Like, what is it? How does it work? How can people get involved?
Yeah, so basically Club JO, like I said, it's Club JO, so it's Club J No Jada. It's a bit centred, obviously, around me, and it's about trying to help support me through my career. Obviously, it's $100 to get your name on the car. Last year it was on the front wing of the Formula 4, and this year it will be most likely on the boot lid of the Super 3 car. So, I mean, we've taken it many ways we can. Obviously, we've got a shop on the website. Obviously, we can do cash in hand with people at the track or whatever ways we can make it work. Obviously, yeah. Ultimately, throughout last year, we did quite a few rewards as well. Like I gave a few people a 2-seater experience with the Formula 4 team at Anglo, which was pretty cool, and I saw a lot of happy faces there. So, I mean, ultimately, it was only $100, but it helped out a lot of people and helped out myself a lot.
Yeah, of course. It's great to get the fans involved in your motorsport journey. And number two, it's great that you're being able to have other specials and offers to give back to them as well for coming on board. Have you had any other sponsorship initiatives, any other little wins that you've had, different ideas?
We also, during the whole Club JO initiative, we created a Club JO Biz Club, which was essentially for more of it moves away from a personal and a bit more to like your small businesses. So obviously there's a lot of companies that are in the local area. They know what you do. They know what like you're capable of, but ultimately, like I said, that they can't fork out the thousands of dollars to become a big sponsor on your car. So, but they still want to help out. So the club the JO Biz is just a kind of an extension on the club JO, but for businesses. So a little bit more money, obviously, but then you're getting their logo on the car in a certain spot. So it works out well. And I mean, we got quite a few on board last year, and it was like a really good journey for them as well. Like I said, they got some hot lap experiences at the end of the year, and they're involved in all the rewards as well.
And so going back to the hot lap, you did say before that it's a two-seater opportunity. How is that, being an open wheeler and having someone else sitting behind you as a driver?
Yeah, obviously I run that through Anglo Motorsport. Tim actually gave me my first experience in a Formula Ford back when I was 15. I did a test day with them. But yeah, I did a bit of work for Tim, and then he asked, "Did you want to have a steer of the two-seater?" And I thought, I wouldn't mind it. It definitely is. You definitely notice there's someone back there. The car is very long, so you do have to drive it a little bit differently. But like, it's a really, really cool car. It's a Formula Ford, a little bit more power and a lot less grip as well. So you end up sliding around all over the place, which looks cool, but sometimes it can be a bit terrifying even for yourself.
Do you sell opportunities for people to buy a two-seater ride if someone's looking to do that?
Yeah, so obviously I'm in pretty closely with Tim at the Anglo Mob. So we actually have a store on our website that sells the two-seater experiences with me driving, which is great. Obviously, having that great relationship with Tim has opened those kind of doors for me to have those opportunities with a lot of people that are close to me.
So after your successful year in 2018 with the F4, obviously with the F4 ruling, for those who don't know, once you win a championship, you can't compete in the category.
Yeah, that's correct. It makes sense. Obviously, it's the same rule in Formula Ford. The champion can't continue on to do another season. But I was lucky enough that Cam gave me the opportunity to run at the GP just because it is such a huge event. And obviously, I had great supporters in AJM Transport and AGI Sport who helped me get out there for the weekend, and we enjoyed a really, really good weekend. It ultimately didn't get the results or the round results we were looking for, but we showed some really great pace and won the last race, which was amazing. But yeah, it was pretty cool racing at the Australian Grand Prix. Obviously, that's the race that everyone watches as Australian kids when the big boys get to come to town. So they finally get out on that track. It's an amazing track. Obviously, Formula One quality. It's just pretty amazing.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's one of my favourite tracks.
Yeah.
So, Jayden, after your successful career, finally you're hitting the supercars, Super V8s, with the Super 3. How did that journey all come about? With the team, did you start seeking somewhere between half of last year? Was that always the plan, or did your guys come to you asking you for a job?
Yeah, obviously, I mean, when the year starts to get close to the end, you start trying to figure it out, trying to put in place what you want to do for the following season. But we were very unsure what my plans were for a long time. Obviously, we wanted to put myself into the next category up. We weren't sure which way to go about it. Ultimately, Michael from Anderson Motorsport got in contact with us. This is post getting the test day in the BJR supercar as well from Formula 4, which was a bit of an eye-opener. That was my obviously first running a tin top at all, so it was pretty different to what I was used to. But yeah, then Michael contacted us, and we managed to put together a little bit of a deal for myself to race in the Super Free this year. Obviously, managed to get a lot of my coexisting sponsors on board for this year and pick up a few more. Obviously, Direction Plus are going to stay on board, and we managed to pick up the Spares Box Mob as well, which supported me at the Bathurst 12 hour. But ultimately, I'm really, really looking forward to this year.
Yeah, and I believe you're doing Bathurst in a few weeks as well.
Yeah, so luckily we get to have the opportunity to go back to Bathurst, get to do the 6 hour there in a production car, which will be pretty cool. I'm really looking forward to that. So that will be very exciting.
Yeah, so we are just mentioning before that if you're not at uni, that you are at the racetrack. And as you're involved in a lot of driver training for a lot of different organisations, why did you go down the driver training alley? And how did all that opportunity come about? Was it about getting back to the sport? Was just people idolising you already?
I'm not too sure where it actually all started. I probably started a little bit with Anglo Motorsport. Me and Tim had been kept pretty close tight throughout the years, even though I didn't officially race for Tim. We were pretty good friends off the track. And he asked me one day if I could help him out with the driver coaching. By that stage, I was I was pretty good with the computer, with the data, being able to decipher all that. So I said, sure, why not, just to help him out a little bit more. And then from there I realised, don't mind this. It's pretty good. And then just the more contacts I made, the more people realised what I could do, and they kind of wanted the help. And it was a good opportunity for both myself to keep at the racetrack. Obviously, while you're at the racetrack, you're meeting new people. You're always learning something one way or another, whether you're driving or you're coaching. So it was a good opening for myself, and obviously me keeping pretty close grips with both previous teams and current teams. Obviously, I'm still working for AGI Sport in the Formula 4 Championship as driver coach now and engineer. But ultimately, it's really cool, yeah.
And what's the grand plan for Jayden in a few years? Is it professional race car driver? Is it coach driver development? Is it business development? Is there a plan yet, or are you just kind of going through the motions?
Ultimately, I think like anyone aspiring in racing, you want to become a professional driver. So that's number one goal. But obviously, you got to kind of have a fall safe. So both the coaching, that's obviously been keeping me pretty busy throughout the weeks. And then I've got uni on the side as well. That's what I'm chugging through at the moment. So just having those doors open. So if one door closes, you've still got another 2 or 3 doors to be fully explored. I think it's really important.
Yeah, and I love the fact that you're going to university and you're doing not one but 2 degrees in business and communications. Has that helped you with your racing career, having that background, having that knowledge and skills, or that you're acquiring at the moment?
Yeah, definitely. Even if you speak to my manager, Martin, he'll even tell you the same thing. The further I progress into uni, the more I kind of understand motorsport from a business point of view. And for all other businesses seeking into motorsport, you know what you can try to offer them, or from a sponsor's point of view, what they want to receive out of sponsoring. So it's definitely, uni's helped me a large amount on that aspect, and UWS have helped me out as well in the aspect of motorsport. Obviously, they've got me on a sports scholarship at the moment, so they've been really helpful in that regard. So I can't be more thankful from them.
I had a post on Instagram the other day, and I'm not sure if you saw it, and I asked the question, can you consider motorsport to be a business or a sport?
Depends what way you're looking at it.
Yeah.
I think it changes day on day. Obviously, when you're at the racetrack, it's for that 30 minutes, it's a sport because that's all you're doing, you're performing. And when you're away from the racetrack and you're training, obviously it still continues as a sport, but it's very quickly it can shift into business when you start talking numbers and reports. So I think it's a very fine line between what it would count as. At the end of the day, it is motorsport, but there is a lot of business that is involved in making it a sport.
Yeah, I agree 100%. And now, Jayden, as you've obviously gone through the ranks and you've been more involved in motorsports, you know that you're grown. And so where you've got like you and Dad, and then there's your dad and an engineer, and there's your dad, Mum being manager / social media person, everything else. And now you've got all the other managers. You've got Mike, you've just mentioned. You've got trainers, which we're going to talk about a little bit later. When did you find that you started engaging in all of these people to help build your brand and help build you as a driver and had that assistance? And what kind of roles do people play now?
Obviously, like I said, it starts out as a family. So each family takes off in their own little role. Mum was a little sponsorship guru. Dad was the mechanic. Then obviously as you venture on, the tasks just start to become quite big at hand. So obviously it goes from being one mechanic on a go-kart to having 4 mechanics on a race car. So it gets difficult in that aspect. And then a lot of the sponsorship obviously ramps up the more you do. So Martin is a family friend who kind of started helping out at the beginning and then really wanted to start getting involved. Or he might tell you he really did not want to start getting involved. But he started getting involved probably towards the end of my Formula 4 career. And again, he's probably helped out a lot more on the sponsorship side, and he kicks my butt every once in a while regarding social medias. Mum, same kind of thing. She does a lot of the sponsorship stuff. Myself, obviously, I'm the driver, the trainer, do a lot of my own social media stuff as well. So it's all pretty exciting. And then obviously we've outsourced a training group for myself this year, just because we starts to get a bit full on, and you kind of need that professional assistance as you want to become a professional driver. You need to be the fittest you can be. That requires obviously having the right diet and the right training program and pre and post events, and there's just a lot more that goes into it, which you kind of need. So yeah, it gets pretty full on, and I'm expecting, obviously, hopefully as I progress further into my career, more people get involved.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm sure it hasn't happened to you. But have you ever gone or heard of a story going to a new team and not getting on with any of the other pit crews or the mechanics, engineers, management?
Like, obviously, you hear about it. You hear about people having fallouts. I've been lucky enough to basically get on with a lot of people that I meet. I think that a lot of that comes down to my personality. I'm a pretty bubbly little fella. So everyone's always happy around me, which is good. And I don't really like to be down too much. So whenever I am down, I try to keep it to myself and keep everyone else in a positive mood. But yeah, you do hear about it.
All right, let's hit the nitty-gritty stuff. So you do have a fantastic social media following. You've got around about 4,000 fans at the moment. Well done on building that brand. You are very camera. Do you think that doing video has assisted you, or your education with your uni background, or having that other support like your mum or Martin?
Yeah, like you said, obviously we built quite a good following on Facebook. A lot of that comes down to just constant posting. We started out the Facebook page when I think I would have been about 13 or something like that, when I was in go-karts. So a lot of those followers have just carried on throughout the years, which is good, and a lot of new ones have come on board, which is also really good.
Do you boost or pay for any ads on Facebook to get followers, or are they all organic?
We've obviously boosted a few posts. There's obviously people out there that boost every post, which I'm not sure is the way to go about it, but we have boosted a few posts in the past, just depending on what they are, depending on what we're trying to do with that post. Obviously Martin's a qualified marketer, so he knows how to go about things as well. So he's been really helpful in that regard when it comes down to how to do things on social media, why we do things. He's also, like I said, he keeps me in line with my videos. He's made sure I'm a really good public speaker, and always trying to mention the sponsors and thank the sponsors, because at the end of the day, they're the people that get me to the track. So it's about trying to give back in every way you can. Obviously, social media is a bit of a forgotten aspect, but it's also very, very influential. If you have a big following, it obviously can be a good selling point, which we're hopefully trying to do and trying to build on, so we can do it in the future.
Yeah, and with your website, which is fantastic, is that something yourself updates, or is that a Martin job, or is that another helper in the world?
Martin does a lot of the work on that. Obviously, we had to outsource a builder for that, but Martin ultimately does all the updates and stuff like that. He's pretty tech busy in that kind of stuff.
And your media releases as well?
Yeah, so a lot of the website updates and media releases, and we do a lot of newsletters that we send out to all the club members and sponsors and stuff like that. That's all done by Martin, which is really, really lucky and thankful for him.
I'm sure he's very appreciative of your thankfulness.
Yeah.
And so, Jen, I know that you're really big on sim training, and I'm yet to interview a sim driver yet. I'm looking for an e-sport competitor, so if you know someone, let me know. Tell us about, I know there's a fantastic new setup at City Motorsport Park. You're one of the coaches there. How valuable is sim training, and, can anyone do it? How does sim training work?
Yeah, obviously I do quite a bit of work with the guys out at Euros. Ollie, the guy that looks after it, me and him have a pretty good relationship. So that kind of started out probably in about 2016. I helped them develop their Formula Forward model, obviously, because Formula Forward is something pretty different and drastic compared to any other car. So helped them develop that, and then ultimately I've used whatever I've been racing up until this point. I think simulator, I've never really dealt into simulators until I met those guys, and ultimately I think depending on how you go about it, it's very easily confusing. A lot of sim, if you don't have the right equipment or the right programming and stuff like that, you can get lost very easily, or you can learn bad techniques. The guys at Euros luckily have a really good setup and offer some awesome training as well. So in that aspect, I think it's really, really rewarding to make sure you have the right equipment. And luckily those guys have that equipment. So it's really, really good. Obviously, they're only out at Eastern Creek, so they're kind of in everyone's face every minute of the day, which is what they kind of need to be. But, yeah.
And what kind of role do you think esports playing in motorsports? We know in Europe and everything, it's been quite big. Like winners of esports are getting real live drives. Do you see that another category, I guess, in itself as trying to also compete for a V8 supercar drive and a Formula One drive right at the top, even though you don't physically drive against them every single weekend?
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously, with the way the technology is going and developing, it's kind of only natural we're seeing the esport world expand and become such a big thing now. Obviously, it's pretty big over in Europe. Obviously, now Australia is starting to get the push behind it as well. I'm pretty sure there's an esport series where they put a couple of esport drivers against real world drivers, and so I think whether or not, I'm pretty sure Gran Turismo put the Nissans. Obviously, you can go through a competition there, and if you win the simulator competition, you get a full year in their GT3 car, which is a pretty crazy thing to believe. But yeah, it's pretty cool, and I think ultimately, as the days and years go on, it's only probably going to get bigger as well.
And I think, again, like with anything, there's going to be pros and cons to it. Like I can already see like sponsorship going because they're going to have a bigger reach because more people will be tuning in as opposed to going to the track. So I think we need to be mindful of that category coming through. Hopefully not as strong as it is in Europe at this stage. Now, I'm really big on mental preparation, Jayden. Do you have any superstitions, like unused socks, used gloves, anything, or any kind of mantras or routine? I think you're the headphones. You do.
I put the headphones on for a little bit, depending how I feel. I don't know. I think a lot of psych people I've talked to, they all believe in having the routines prior to race. A lot of the time, I've tried a lot of different routines. I think with me, I just like to talk. I just like to walk around, have a chat, do whatever. Really, it's a bit odd, but I think I don't know. Sometimes it's when I perform my best is when I'm most relaxed. So take me out of that stressful environment and just having a chat about my mechanic's weekly day job or something like that. Often helps me perform my best, and then I'm just able to switch on a couple of minutes before the race, and then off we go. I can be in the best state of my life. But obviously there's people that spend 20, 30 minutes I've seen preparing, chucking balls around, doing everything to get ready. But like I said, it's kind of each person has their own way of going about it. As for the superstitions, I don't really have one. Kind of got the routine. I don't like to put my gloves on before I get belted on, but that's just because I don't like to have my hands in my gloves for very long. But I don't really have any other superstitions.
So how do you think the heart rate's going to go going from the open wheeler to the tin top, sitting on that grid for the first race at Phillip Island in a couple of weeks? Do you think you're still going to be cool, calm and collective, or this is a whole new ball game for you?
Yeah, obviously, like it's pretty big change. So I'm not completely sure, but hopefully I can still keep nice and relaxed. I don't like to stress about too much. I like to play everything off pretty relaxed and pretty cool. So we'll find out, I guess. But ultimately, it's still another meeting. It's a big change to what I'm used to, like I said. But ultimately, hopefully, we can just tick the box and keep it that way.
Yeah, and I see that you've got a favourite quote. Is that like your mantra as well from Senna?
Yeah. Obviously, that's the quote on my website. So a lot of like anyone in motorsport, everyone desires and idolises Senna. So I think that quote kind of speaks for a lot. So yeah.
Cool. And last, we're wrapping up now. Do you have any advice for upcoming drivers? Just really staying true to their vision of pursuing their dreams of being a professional motorsport competitor.
Yeah, probably like my biggest bit would be just not to close doors. A lot of time I've opened a lot of doors because I leave somewhere and I still keep the relationship, I still keep talking, I still keep smiling and doing whatever. I ultimately like being happy. I remember when I crashed out, unfortunately, in race 2 at the Australian Grand Prix. Got back to the pits. Obviously, you're bummed out that you crashed out, but Antonio had just gotten his first win, so you can't help but be happy. And I was smiling with the team. You don't want to be that one guy that's sad, and you ultimately just want to move on. When you have bad experiences, you analyse them, yes, but ultimately it's just about being happy, enjoying it. Obviously, I enjoy any day I'm at a racetrack. It's very, very rare you'll catch me at a racetrack being unhappy.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's probably my biggest bit, and obviously trying to give back to those people that helped you out, obviously, whether that be teams, sponsors. Obviously, I've been very lucky to have a great sponsorship backing from a lot of people. Companies like SMS Diesel have stuck with me since day dot. And then obviously new companies like Direction Plus, Spares Box, Sakura. A lot of these new companies have come on board in the past couple of years and really gotten behind me, and I'm really thankful for that. So ultimately it's about trying to create those opportunities. Yeah.
Yeah, and I really believe that your attitude to life, to your racing, your commitment towards your sponsors and to your family is the reason why we will see you in a V8 Supercar in the near future. Obviously, your sponsors have stayed with you for a reason. You've obviously looked after them off the track as well, and they have the same belief in you. So well done, and congratulations on your career to date, and I cannot wait to see you up at the main game. I have to ask, what is your favourite race category to date?
One that I've raced in or that I've raced in. Favourite race category. Oh, it's a difficult one. Obviously, the Supercar's pretty cool drivers, a lot of power. The Formula 4's got exceptional grip, exceptional handling. Formula 4's got some pretty mental racing. Obviously, there's a lot of slipstreaming in that. A good Formula 4 race is probably pretty up there. Formula 4's that last lap at Pukekohe with Ryan in race 1, I believe it was, where we had the close finish where we were probably side by side. I'd probably put that as one of my top races so far. So I don't know. It's very tough one. I don't want to pick a side, but yeah, I don't know if I can answer it.
That's fine. They've all had special moments and memories for you throughout your career, so that's completely understandable. But of course, what is your favourite racetrack?
Favourite racetrack? Probably Sandown. Raced there a lot in Formula 4. Obviously, I raced the Victorian State too, so went to Sandown a couple of times. Unfortunately, didn't race there last year, which was a bit of a bummer, but we'll go back there this year on the Super Free calendar. It was just a really, really cool track, and I really liked it. Obviously, there's 2 big drag strips of straights. But when I was driving there in the Formula 4, there's not many tracks you get to attack some of the curbs like you can there. So just for that aspect, it was pretty cool. So I'm looking forward to going there this year in the Super Free for our final round.
Oh, well, Jayden, I wish you all the very best for 2019 in the Super 3 series. I'm going to have all the links up to Club JO. So if anyone's wanting to support Jayden, please head over and join a Club Jayden. Thank you again for your time today. I really appreciate it, sharing your journey. Hopefully it inspires some young karters, Formula 4 drivers to keep growing and pursuing their dreams to achieve to the top.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me.
No problem. Well, we'll follow up on your journey, and if you win the championship, I'd like to have you back on at the end of the year.
Well, hopefully I can.
We'll do take 2 at the end of the year anyway to do your first season of Super 3s, and then hopefully you'll have an idea of what's happening in 2020.
Yeah, mega. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Jayden. Well, thanks everyone for listening to this week's show. I really hope you enjoyed that one as much as I did. Now, remember, all the show notes with the links and the specials mentioned in today's show are available over at motivatetraining.com.au. If you haven't already, I'd really appreciate if you could head to iTunes or Stitcher, type in Motorsport Coaching, subscribe, and leave us a review. Each week, I'll read them out and you'll go into monthly draw to win a fantastic prize. If you have any questions or comments, please email us at motivatetraining.com.au or head over to our Facebook page at Motivate to Tea. Until next time, take care.